Greetings, welcome to Bocconcini. My name is Alex and I'm going to be giving a summary of the world of Dragon Age. Dragon Age is a high fantasy RPG turned book series, comic series, TV series, and tabletop RPG. Today I'm going to talk about the world where it's set and what we're introduced to in the first main installation, Dragon Age Origins. I'll be talking about main general lore, so you don't have to worry about any spoilers. Dragon Age is set on a supercontinent called Thedas, named from its codename in development, the Dragon Age setting. There's a whole bunch of different places and races and whatnot, so I'll try and make it simple. Thedas has magic, dragons, and other fantastical creatures. When people dream, they go to the land of spirits and demons, called the Fade. Mages are fully lucid in the Fade and therefore run the risk of being possessed by demons who wish to enter the world of the living. These possessed creatures, these mages possessed by demons, are called abominations and are extremely strong. Corrupted zombie-like creatures called Darkspawn live underground in old dwarven caves, waiting to find an archdemon, which is supposedly an corrupted god that is a lot stronger than all of them and a lot smarter than all of them. This archdemon leads them into war with the surface world. The Darkspawn aim to corrupt the whole world, converting everything into creatures like themselves. These wars with the surface are called blights. The only people who can end a blight are a specialist group called the Grey Wardens. The Wardens used to be a prestigious band of warriors who would ride into battle on griffins, but are now rarer as Darkspawn present to be less of a threat, or rather, blights are less common. In Thedas, the main races are human, elf, dwarf, and Qunari. Humans act like they do in real life, full of themselves and think they own everything. They rule most of the land and can be quite racist to everyone else. Most humans follow Andrastianism, which is basically Christianity, but God is called the Maker and Jesus is a woman called Andraste. Elves are shorter and leaner than humans and are more adept at magic due to their ancestry. They lost most of their ancient culture when they lost a war to some humans, so most of them live in city slums. The city elves have to survive on crime, servitude, or being sold into slavery. They have created their own culture amongst themselves to substitute the ancient ways. Dalish elves are nomadic clansfolk who try to follow what little they can recover of the ancient ways. They live in forests and are spiritually connected with magic and nature from their elven pantheon of gods. The Dalish can be quite uptight and disgusted by humans as well as city elves, and also adorn religiously significant facial tattoos. Dwarves usually live underground and follow a monarchy, worshipping ancestors who were raised to the status of paragon from great achievements. They cannot do magic, but have a resilience to the magical mineral of lyrium, which mages use to increase power. Some dwarves leave the surface to engage in trade, but if they do so, they are forbidden to return underground and are stripped of their social standing. Dwarves do not dream, as they have no connection to the Fade. Qunari are basically orcs. They are big, tall, mostly have horns, and incredibly strong. They are thought to have descended from dragon-like people called the Kossith, but not much is known. They mostly keep to themselves on islands on the outskirts of known Thedas, following a doctrine called the Qun. It is suggested that it helps to quell their natural aggressive instincts. The Qun is very strict and dictates every aspect of a Qunari's life, from occupation/name to mate. The Qun accepts any who want to join and does not allow themselves to be under jurisdiction by any governments. Those who reject the Qun are called Talvishoth and usually become mercenaries. They are extremely disliked by the Qun. Ferelden. Fereldans sound British. The country was formed when King Calenhad brought the human Alamari tribes together, some of which still exist, such as the Avar and the Chastened. Ferelden has had a recent war with Orlais, a neighbouring country, which is basically France. In Ferelden, they like dogs, practicality, and simplicity. At the south of Ferelden is the Korkari Wilds, a dangerous and unexplored place which marks the southern border of the known world. Orlais. Orlais is very fancy, obsessed with appearances and social comeuppance, being better than other people in almost every way possible. They're a bit full of themselves, but at least they look pretty. The Tevinter Imperium. Tevinter is another significant country. The Tevinter Imperium is the only country to openly allow slavery and also blood magic. Technically, they discourage it, but it's pretty well known that they engage in it quite frequently, especially the higher standing people in society. The country is ruled by mages and has an extreme rich-poor divisor. They can kidnap random people, usually homeless elves, and force them into servitude, abusing them, or using them as blood sacrifices for fun. The country is ancient and used to rule over all of Thedas. They were the ones to destroy the elven culture. Well, or rather, they were the ones who went to war with the elves. The Free Marches. The Free Marches is a collection of city-states such as Starkhaven and Kirkwall. They all have their own rules and do mostly whatever they like within themselves. Navarra. Navarra used to be part of the Free Marches, but it grew so big it turned into a country. Navarra, the people in there, they like to care more about the dead than the living, and they also used to hunt dragons to near extinction. Antiva. Antiva is a seaside country with plenty of pirates and assassins who mostly have darker skin and Spanish-esque accents. Not exactly Spanish, but close enough. Ravane. Ravane is very close to Antiva and has peaceful relationships with elves and Kunari, which is kinda rare. The people there have very dark skin and do not believe in Andraste nor the Maker. They have a matriarchal society and are not as strict with magic control as other countries. The Anderfels. The Anderfels is a large country area place whose ruler is not involved much at all. Therefore, the Anders turn to the Grey Wardens for rule, and as a people are constantly fighting the Darkspawn. They are perhaps the most devout followers of the Andrastian chantry in Thedas. Parvolin. Parvolin is a completely Kunari-controlled island to the north of Ravane. It used to be home to primitive human groups which have since assimilated into Kunari culture. Saharan. Saharan is another island to the north, but closer to Tevinter. The Imperium and the Kunari constantly fight over the territory, whilst rebel natives in Talbashoth fight back against occupation. Areas surrounding these countries have not been adequately discovered, so there isn't much known about where humans came from to land in Thedas, or where Kunari came from to land in Thedas, where dwarves came from, where elves came from, whatever. A lot of the ancient history has been lost due to wars, predominantly. Andrastianism is extremely popular and has resulted in most of the explanations for the existence of things, such as Darkspawn. So basically, with Darkspawn, some Tevinter Magisters, some mages, they went into an area of the Fade, which is like their heaven, and tried to take the spot of God. In doing so, they corrupted the place, made it all nasty and such, and corrupted the old gods, who became the archdemons, so it became the first Darkspawn. Andrastianism was born from the Tevinter chantry. A rebel called Andraste rallied an army to defy the Tevinter magical hierarchy before she was betrayed and assassinated. She did it because, I don't know, she was called on to do it by the Maker. She thought it was unfair, basically, how Tevinter was treating people. Thus, the Andrastian chantry has strict rules about mages that have transferred into general society. General society basically takes on the rules of the Andrastian chantry. It's very common, and anything other than that is considered weird, I suppose. Most places have magi circles where mages are taken away to study and be disciplined in magic, sometimes forcefully, to enforce the chant of light, which was supposedly the words of Andraste. The Circles have non-magical soldiers known as Templars to protect the safety of outsiders and the mages themselves. Templars use lyrium to gain specific abilities to help them kill any abominations or blood mages. They can be paranoid and suspicious of anyone with magical abilities. And that's it for a basic view on the world of Dragon Age Thetis. I'd like to thank all the hardworking people on the Dragon Age fandom page. Reading every codex entry is a huge task, and I'd like to thank them for collating all this information in such an easy to understand way. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you want anything more specific, feel free to let me know, especially about the world of Dragon Age. I just love talking about it. So I guess have a great day. Oh, my recording didn't finish. Hee hee.